Detroit, Michigan. The Motor City and once the crown jewel of the Midwest. A hotbed of innovations in manufacturing, music, culture, and sports. The Detroit Tigers were one of the original 8 American League teams and have not changed their name or location once since their founding. It's common knowledge by now that Detroit is a shell of what it once was. Despite the city declaring bankruptcy in 2013, increasing problems in poverty and crime, and well over half of the population leaving Detroit, the Tigers have always been there. A lot of this is due to the work of Mike Ilitch, a Detroit native who at one time was a minor league player in the Tigers system in the 1950s. His playing career would unfortunately soon be cut short by injuries. This would lead him into the career most known for as the founder of Little Caesars Pizza. He would use his wealth from his pizza empire and put some of that money back into the city and the sports he loved. Little Caesars would start a number of local charities, feeding the hungry, getting kids into sports, and he even personally paid Rosa Parks rent when she encountered financial issues later in her life. He would buy the Detroit Red Wings in 1982 and the Tigers in 1992. It was incredibly clear that this was a purchase out of love, not financial interest. At that point in time, owning a baseball team was not the money printing operation it is today, and the Tigers in particular were in the basement of the American League standings. While the Tigers didn't win a World Series while Mike was the owner, they gave Detroit a gorgeous new stadium, won the American League pennant twice, and have produced a number of future Hall of Famers. In a period of time when Detroit's population decreased by well over half, the Tigers would triple their attendance. Ilitch unfortunately passed away in 2017, but his legacy to his home city will likely never be forgotten. I've been to a few Tigers games in the last couple of years, and the city is incredibly empty, but a Tigers game is no doubt a symbol of hope. As fans pack the ballpark, it's a sign of life in an otherwise dead city. As the Tigers play, temporarily, Detroit gets to feel like Detroit again. It's a fitting tribute to Mike Ilitch that today's recipe will be a Detroit-style pizza. This style came to be when auto workers would bake pizza in the rectangular auto parts trays from their factories, giving it a thick, airy crust and deliciously crispy edges. To make our own, we'll start by blooming our yeast. In 220 grams of water, dissolve 1 1/4 teaspoon of Active Dry Yeast. In the meantime, we'll measure out our dry ingredients. To get the thick crust we need, this will require the extra strength of bread flour. So this is one recipe where you can't substitute all-purpose flour. Measure out 300 grams of bread flour, 9 grams of salt, and whisk that all together. Add the bloomed yeast to the flour and salt and bring it together until just combined. Let that rest for 10 minutes and then turn it out onto a floured work surface. This is a high hydration dough, which means it'll be sticky and hard to knead. I recommend covering your hands in olive oil and using a bench scraper to keep it from sticking to your work surface. Knead with a hand and scraper in tandem for 10 minutes until the dough is smooth and elastic. Oil up your mixing bowl and the dough and cover and let it rest for 2 hours until doubled in size. In the meantime, let's make some sauce. In a mixing bowl, combine a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and half a teaspoon of chili flakes. Mince up 2 cloves of garlic and saute them in olive oil over medium heat until golden brown. Add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste and cook for a couple minutes. Add your tomato mixture and simmer it all for 25 to 30 minutes until the sauce is nice and thick. Your dough should be done its first rise by now and is ready to shape. Cover a Detroit-style pan with copious amounts of olive oil and turn your dough directly into the pan. A Detroit-style pan is rectangular with high angular edges, is about 10 inches by 14 inches, and is made of steel. If you can't find one, you can always use a cake pan with similar dimensions. Press the dough into the corners of the pan. If it won't stretch all the way to the corners, cover it and let the dough rest before trying again. Once the dough is in the corners, cover and let it rise until the dough puffs up to about halfway up the edge of the pan. In the meantime, we'll prepare our toppings. A super important part of Detroit-style pizza is brick cheese. I wasn't able to find any, so I substituted by shredding a mixture of half mozzarella and half Monterey Jack. For your other toppings, you can put whatever you want, but the classic Detroit pizza is pepperoni. Once your dough has risen, start by proliferating plenty of pepperonis across your pan and pause to ponder your perfect alliteration. Put a layer of cheese on top going all the way to the edges of the pan. Finish it off with the sauce on top in stripes, kind of like a certain locally beloved animal. Add a few extra pepperonis on top and don't forget to eat a couple of them along the way. Throw the pizza in the oven at 550 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes until the edges are browned and crispy. Remove it from the pan with a metal spatula and cut it up into square slices. No hyperbole, this turned out to be the best pizza I've ever made. If you don't believe me, let's see what past me has to say about it.
Oh my god, that's really good. It's really, really good.
After a bite like that, I will definitely be enjoying the game.
1, 2. You know who's breathing a big sigh of relief?